thanks for tuning in. We're your hosts, Bentley,
Billy,
and Aaron, and this is Podcast Heroes.
All right, we're here with episode 24. Can you believe it? We've made it to 24.
I'm glad you started this week and not me, because I was about to say episode 25.
Yeah, well, you know what? At least I pay attention to what's going on in the world of podcast heroes. Although I am here without, a tablet, a notepad, anything. I am the definition of unprepared for this podcast because I was busy running around trying to get a lamp repaired that really didn't need to get repaired at all.
Watch the stream if you're interested.
Yeah.
So, in other words,
too late now.
business as usual for Billy.
Hey, you know what? I won state debate in high school.
Oh, my.
What? Wow.
By pretending like I knew what I was doing.
8 Billy won
years
state
ago.
debate.
So you know what? I'm prepared for being unprepared. That should be a catchphrase or a bumper sticker.
I'm prepared for being unprepared.
Well, I actually had a very productive and happy week of Heroes. This might be one of my most enjoyable weeks of play ever. I realized just how good I am on Tyrande.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but I feel like, I could 1v1 K1 Pro. No problem whatsoever. Easy.
Dude, we had some successful games this
Aaron
week.
has the biggest look of disbelief on his face, like, hey,
Dude.
you're a liar.
No, he's good. He's good.
I know just how good he is. But I had a lot of fun playing with Danielle and Josh this weekend. Thanks to those of you who tuned into our live stream or Josh's live stream.
I just want that known. No, okay, so like Aaron was saying, we played with Josh and Danielle Burry. It was a blast. They're both excellent people. You should follow them on Twitter. That's what it's called. On Twitter, if you get the opportunity. Josh is at Throne Gauntlet.
Yes.
And then Danielle is Sylvana, Sil something. I think she made it up, really.
She's going to be mad.
Yeah,
now.
she's, whatever.
Sylvanora.
She can get over it. I'm going to look it up and then spell it out. Yeah, he's right. Sylvanora. Wow, look at him go.
Nice.
It's Sylvanora. Both of them are awesome, especially if you're into esports. Josh actually writes for The Score and covers Heroes Esports.
And actually, he had an excellent article about the Road to BlizzCon EU this weekend.
Yeah,
so that was pretty
yeah, definitely support those guys. They're really cool. And if you get a chance to play with them, they're not bad either.
No.
Well, they're terrible.
Well, but we are too. So.
But by our powers combined, we are the definition of Team League.
Yeah, we're gonna be the next NA regional champions. We just need to get like a little bit of communication and a lot of more skill,
more planning. I would say we went into the games just no planning at all.
Well, yeah, what was it?
We were ready. Dude.
And then our first game.
Our first game is very much similar to our last game in levels of preparedness.
Well, we get into the lobby, and Aaron's hovering on a champion. He's the very top pick,
and I'm
right?
like, someone pick, because
Yeah.
I shouldn't first pick support.
Yeah, because you were going to pick Uther or whatever.
And neither of any of the other 4 people. We do a podcast about this. We've talked about this on the podcast.
have.
And nobody else knew that you could pick out of order.
Yeah, that you could pick, whoever locks in first gets the first pick. And so we're all freaking out, like, Aaron, no, you just lock in, you're fine, it's cool, whatever. And he's like, no, guys, do this. And then who was it? Somebody got like one of theirs locked. Like it was a Muradin.
The
or
first
something.
game, somebody picked, and it was out of order, and it was a mess. But the second game, we knew, and we were like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. And then Bentley locks in Vala immediately.
Yep. We're like, this is my pick for the day.
He's like, I'm hearing everything you're saying, and I'm ignoring you.
And this is my
I
pick.
hear what you're saying. The answer is no.
Right.
So yes, great week in Heroes, right?
And then our last game,
Our
Oh,
last
wow,
game was
dude.
probably the most embarrassing
None
thing
of us
I've ever
paid
done.
any attention. We were all so disheartened, I think.
Well, okay, so
Yeah.
what? That was our 5th game of the night, I believe.
Fourth.
No, 5th. I'm pretty sure it's 5 because I think we went 1 and 4. So, anyways, we only won 1 game, and we either played 4 or 5. And yeah, the 5th game, we were all just like, all right, screw it, have fun, pick who you want to play and have some fun. Who did I play? I played some support. I think Rhaegar.
I don't know. That was our strategy, and it was terrible because we were in Infernal Shrines.
And you first picked Nova.
But none of us knew we were in Infernal Shrines, so it was like...
we didn't pay
And
attention
everyone
at
was
all.
like, go ahead, go Nova, you want a player, just do it.
And then he'd been talking about it for 5 games straight there since, it came up, like, who else can play damage dealers? And Aaron's like, I can play Nova. And I went on my tirade against, Nova and how god-awful she is. And then everyone else was, like, defending Nova. And I'm like, all right, fine, just pick Nova.
And later in the show, we're going to get into how strong AoE is on Infernal Shrines.
Yeah.
But Nova is what you could call the anti-AoE.
She has... Her ultimate does AoE,
Yeah.
I guess, you know?
Yeah, but non-heroic AoE.
Well, and I mean, still, even if you're using your ultimate to clean up the shrines,
You're wasting.
you're wasting it.
All right.
No, so we kind of got sidetracked there. Yeah, no, so we went 1 and 4, 1 and 3, one of those two. We still have to finish up our last 20 whatever placement games. I'm seeing like maybe rank 10. I think we can get there.
I think that we need to give the game a little bit of, considering that we've been playing against Expeke,
Yeah, and like all the really
highest
great like
tier-
Dota, Smite, and League of Legends
highest
champions.
tier players in the game. I think that probably they'll just auto us to like rank 5
Yeah,
and let us work our way down.
yeah.
Because
I mean,
we're terrible.
I think Danielle's estimation of rank 79 was pretty accurate.
That's entirely. Dustin Browder's going to release a tweet saying they've created a special rank for us.
I don't know if it would be worse to be rank 79 or like rank 51. Like the sub.
Yeah,
you're worse than the worst rank.
At least 79 something special.
Yeah, like wow, that's pretty unique. Do you like start going up after a while?
Right. No, but it is a blast, and I really have to say, it's like a lot of people say Team League sucks, and they don't like to play it, and like not even the pros play it and that kind of thing. But I actually had a fun time doing it because it gives you an alternative draft method.
Yeah.
It prevents from having a mirror competition, a mirror lane or anything like that on the other team. So it's not like you'll have 2 Rhaegars or anything. I genuinely enjoyed it, and I am glad that Blizzard got rid of the whole. You can queue up with 5, 4, 3 people if you're going into Hero League, and now it's pretty much 2 or nothing. And so we had 5 together, and we're just like, all right, screw it, let's do it, let's have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Worst case, we get rank 50. I mean, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to a lot more Team League play for sure.
Yeah, I hope we continue to, and I hope a draft system comes out, or like a true draft system where there's bans.
Yeah.
I think that would make it a lot more enjoyable. So
I had fun.
Yeah. So,
All right, news.
Oh yeah, news. There's tons. Well, not tons, but there's some interesting news this week.
there's the. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. That was really rude of me.
Jeez, dude.
I mean,
Here's the thing about Billy and I. You can tell that we've been working way too much. And that's kind of the case, is that we like basically live at the office right now.
how many hours have you put in the past 2 days? I've done 20.
I'm sure
don't
you're
even.
more than me. A lot more
I'm
than
sure
you.
that you're more than me because
Last week I was at 60.
Yeah, lucky duck. Then look at you at work all the time.
Guys,
So we're kind of falling apart.
if you pre-ordered Legacy of the Void,
Which I did.
you automatically get Artanis on October 20th.
Now I heard that you actually have to access customer support to get it, but like you pointed out earlier, people have already played Artanis.
Yes.
He was available as a glitch this last week
Yes.
for
he
a few
was.
people. If
Wait,
they
in
ran
live play?
No,
in the
so
PTR.
Just in the PTR. Okay.
Yeah.
he was available, and you could random him, and but only people who pre-ordered Legacy of the Void,
Exactly.
which makes me think, okay, they're gonna give him to us.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I wasn't too surprised about this news, because it kind of already was spoiled. But I think this is pretty interesting that they're, using another release of an IP to kind of promote the release of the IP and to get a little bit extra in Heroes of the Storm,
I can't wait for their mobile game to come out, and then
Dude.
all we do all day long is Blizzard game.
God. But it is interesting to note that you will be getting it a week before anyone else on the live, servers.
I don't know that it has been explicitly said that it is going to be on the live servers. It just said you're going to be getting it a week before anyone else.
Okay, so at least you will be getting it before normal
Whether
people.
that means you get an extra week on the PTR,
On the PTR, right.
or a week before everyone else. While it's PTR for some people, it's live for you. I really doubt they would do that, and I doubt they'd make it so exclusive.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, on one hand, it's like, okay, yes, I see what they want to do, and I can respect it. It's like, yeah, it's like you want to support the people that support your company, right?
Yes.
Where I find issue with it is if they ignore the PTR and straight to live release, and then it turns out Artanis is stupid broken, and the only people who have access to them are the people who have paid money for them. And it's like, okay, now you're turning this game into a pay to win, and this is supposed to be a free to play game. I really hope they avoid that. So, like, no matter what, even if he comes out a week early on live play for people that have pre-ordered him, I really, really hope at the very least there's a week of him on the PTR.
Yeah.
And that week leads to them discovering any bugs, any game-breaking situations, and changes it so that he doesn't become a game-breaking thing. I'm perfectly okay with them doing this pre-order thing. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way to help promote their company and all that stuff. Hell, I'll probably even buy Legacy of the Void if that's going to be the case. But I don't want it to become a game-breaking thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we can all play it.
Well, and that's what I'm really concerned about. Is because, like, I won't even want to play him if it's... Well, okay, no, I'll totally play him and raise up in rank. But I just really don't want that to happen because it's what kills games. It really does. If it turns into a pay to win instead of a free to play, it's like that's why PlanetSide never got huge.
Yeah.
Is because it was a pay to win game for a very, very long time, and it still really is. I can't think of any MOBA that even dreams of doing something like this. Most of those MOBAs are definitely all free-to-play games. Like, anyone who doesn't spend any money has just as good of a chance, and I really don't want Blizzard to go down that path because it's totally possible. There's tons of MMOs that do it. There's tons of shooters that do it, and I'm so worried that they're going to fall down that slope because then it puts a horrible stigma on the game, and it makes people who are, like, true gamers not want to be a part of the game anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think Blizzard has enough, cash money for them to not go that route, but...
They have enough money from me paying for World of Warcraft subscriptions to feed their employees for the remainder of their lives. So, yeah, they better not be thinking about, okay, let's...
You play a lot into World of Warcraft.
I played for every single year it was out, except one, and I had at least 2 accounts for most of
You
that
really
time.
should have kept it active during that one, just so that you could have gotten the really cool statue.
I really should have. But you know what? Oh, well.
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend at the time. I had a life.
You had a life.
I had a life.
It's gone.
Once. I didn't need... once. Now I'm back to not having one. So instead I work all day.
So another exciting thing that happened this weekend was the Road to BlizzCon EU version. Congratulations to Navi for
Huge.
Yeah, dude. I mean, basically they are the Team Liquid of the EU spectrum.
You mean Tempo Storm?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Because
Yes.
Team Liquid is an EU.
Yes, sorry. Tempo Storm. They went, I believe it was like 7-0. They didn't even lose. I wrote down some notes about Game 3. I only watched the finals, and it was Dignitas versus Navi. In Game 3.
It should be noted, Dignitas used to be known as Bob.
Oh,
It was B-O-B
really?
question mark.
Oh, yes.
And something like... I think it was like a few weeks or whatever before the international competition, Dignitas says the organization is like, we need to get into Heroes. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
wait, these guys don't have it. And I wonder, I really do wonder, part of me is wondering, is like, were they trying to decide between Murloc Geniuses and Bob? And I mean, honestly, I love Murloc Geniuses. Fury is the best warrior player in North America.
Yeah.
Faye is amazing on Assassin, but the new team Dignitas that used to be Bob, they would spank him. They would spank him like no other. So Dignitas totally made the right decision here.
Yeah.
Picked up Team Bob. These guys go to the finals to play against Na'Vi, who is clearly the dominant team. It's no longer Team Liquid like it used to be in the earlier summer. It is now Na'Vi who are the top dogs there. And I mean, you break the game down because I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Well, here, and this is mind-boggling, okay? And I'll give you Dignitas. It was game 3. Na'Vi already won 2 games, so game 3 was kind of for the fans in a way. Dignitas went with a pretty normal build, standard comp. I didn't really write theirs down just because of how amazing Na'Vi's was, but it was a standard 2 warrior that you saw, for the rest of the championship. But Na'Vi came out with a Abathur, Uther, Butcher, Kerrigan, and Falstad on Battlefield of Eternity.
So hardly any ranged.
Oh yeah,
and no warrior.
No warrior.
Was there support in there? The Uther
was the only support, and then the Abathur play was amazing. And unfortunately, I didn't write down the player's name, but he actually at the very end they popped up the individual stats, which is a great addition to the new layout of the. They actually pop up individual stats.
Well, and it seemed like from at least the pictures I saw in the brief little clips, it just seemed like the production value of this was far, far, far superior to NA. And it's like I wonder, is like maybe it was just the venue that caused that. Maybe it's just better preparedness in EU. Maybe it was like they went, oh wow, NA kind of had terrible production. Let's pick it up for EU. I think there's just too much short of time for that to be the case. But
that's interesting because it's an American company. You'd think they'd have more resources available to them here.
Right. Well, and so that's why I'm thinking it's like, wow, they went and they saw NA and they're like, okay, we can do better. Mm-hmm. And they did better. Because, I mean, that production was odd, at least from what I've seen, and I wish I had watched it all live. Of course, it was on during the week. I was at work.
Well, and you were busy with another MOBA.
League of Legends World Championships is going on right now, so I figured I'd follow the... World Championships of a MOBA instead of the weakest region in a MOBA and their championship. So I got over it.
So the one thing I really want to just point out with this team is that they went with a...
Do we have a viewer?
The Butcher and Falstad had a amazing combo that they kept doing, which was the Lamb of the Slaughter plus Mighty Gus.
He took Lamb of the Slaughter.
Lamb of the Slaughter.
Check this out.
And
Check
Mighty
this
Gus.
out. This is cool.
Okay.
It is crazy, dude. And the first time they did it, it was amazing. Basically, they would point out the other team, I believe, had a Jaina. And every time they would, chain her down, Lamb of the Slaughter, and then...
Lamb to the Slaughter is that Butcher ultimate where you throw a stake down, there's a chain attached to it, it latches onto one champion... or multiple if there's there.
I believe that level 21 makes it multiple, right?
Okay. Yes.
If you choose that, which he did not, because he wanted to latch one person down.
And then Falstad would come in with his Mighty Gust and get rid of all of his teammates, and then they could focus down on the chained poor soul. And it worked every time, dude.
Only time
we need to do this.
Only time we've ever seen Mighty Gust used ever.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like seeing a Muradin take Haymaker.
Yeah, exactly, dude. And
I guess a Butcher take Lamb to the Slaughter.
Yeah. And I mean, Solid Jake actually pointed out that this was the first time that he actually wanted to play a Mighty Gus Falstad, which is hilarious.
That's an amazing I never would have thought of that.
And I mean, how odd is it? No warrior comp. They had basically a 3-level lead the whole game, thanks to Abathur. And he actually led in hero damage at the very end of the game.
Go figure.
Which is insane. We saw a lot of double Butchers, a lot of double Kerrigans. And it was a great game, dude. I mean, seeing that combo every time just goes to show that the meta is very different everywhere. And I can't wait for BlizzCon to see the Na'Vi, and I believe Dignitas is going to BlizzCon.
Yeah, it's the top 2 from EU that get to go.
So it's going to be a great BlizzCon, guys.
And that's what's really appealing to me about this game compared to, because my background's League of Legends, right? And I know what I'm about to say about Heroes totally applies to other MOBAs. I'm only comparing it to League because I think that is by far and away, in viewership at the very least, the most popular MOBA in the world right now.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about Heroes of the Storm compared to League, is that it's like there is no definitive meta. It's like there are things you should do. Like typically you're going to have one warrior, 3 damage dealers, and 1 support. Typically, that's the typical thing, and you're going to see that 9 times out of 10 in games. But I love the fact that a team can come in with no warriors and bust out something cheeky like this and still win a game. And it's just so much fun.
Or they can pull up 2 warriors, 2 supports, 1 assassin.
Yeah.
And they can rock it because you can't kill them.
Yeah. It's like, they may not be dealing damage to you, but they'll whittle you down and they'll win the objectives every single time.
Yeah.
So it's just really fun to me that it's like, even when I'm in a Hero League game and I go in and our comp's like, oh my god, this comp is terrible, I know there's still a chance.
There's always a chance.
There's always a chance. So it's like, I mean, keep that in your mind when you're out there playing by yourself.
Yeah.
There's a chance. Just play your best and be nice to everyone on your team. You never know. Maybe it's just somebody who's going to bust out their best champion to the best of their ability. I mean, go for it. Just have some fun with the game. And it's like, there's no meta. You don't need to worry about that.
Yeah. I believe that is all of the news today.
Which means
we do have some things house cleaning. First, Lieutenant Morales is live now.
Oh yeah.
We did not talk about that. The changes have gone down for Tassadar and Tyrande. They were huge changes to them.
Oh yeah.
In order to make them viable solo supports now.
Zeratul Void Prison range cut in half.
Yeah. Thank God. That really needed to be nerfed.
I mean, he's a melee assassin.
It's still
he's
strong,
a melee assassin,
but now it's basically melee range.
Yeah. Now he's going to be in more places. The patch did go live. I believe we linked it last week and talked about it briefly last week.
Yeah.
Stitches got huge changes to him now, so I'm definitely going to be busting out some Stitches.
And there were changes to his ultimate. Do you know what they were?
I believe his Putrid Bile, which is the not the one that eats people, it's the other one.
The Gorge.
Yeah, it's not Gorge. I believe they changed some stats on that, and I think Gorge does more damage now or something
Either
like
that or increased duration.
Or it's one of those two things.
Yeah, but the big thing is that every time you get a hook now, it stuns the enemy.
Right.
And
which
that's
Wow.
huge. Yeah, so I mean, I played about 3 games, a quick match before I came here, and all 3 games I had a medic.
That's the change we needed to know about.
Yeah, and I had a medic and a Stitches in all 3 games of a quick match. So I think you're going to see him a lot.
Very cool.
Stitches is going to be a viable tank again.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. I can't wait because he's one of my favorite warriors to play in the game, and Medic's going to be awesome. But the most important thing to talk about is Raynor's skin.
Oh yeah.
Combo thing. The Marshal Raynor with his steed. I'm actually going to spend money on this game now because
have you not yet? I thought you did the other day.
Nope, haven't yet.
No.
You keep announcing that you're going to spend money on this game.
But and that was when those skins were out. It's like, I'd probably buy one of those. But now that I see it, I'm like, I'm buying that.
You were debating on Uther, but then you're like, well, Raynor.
I'm getting
Raynor,
Uther
right.
because let's be realistic. Who plays support here?
Yeah, you're the better support than me, absolutely. No, I'm so excited to play this Raynor skin. It's going to be a lot of fun. There are a lot of other great skins that will be released over the month.
Yeah.
They're not all out yet. I'm trying to think if there's anything else important patch wise.
I did play a little bit of Leoric. They did nerf his Q, which is the swing for wave clear, and
which
stuff.
needed to be nerfed.
And you know what? I don't think it's that bad. I think it's perfectly fine. I did notice the nerf. Starting out, it wasn't as hard to. I couldn't clear the waves as much. I had to wait till the second sweep, but I think it was necessary, and I still played him the normal way, used my usual builds, and I think it's a good change.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, so that I guess that does at that point conclude our news then.
Yeah. And it's time for. And now for Free Week.
Oh, I got plenty of nothing, and nothing's plenty for me.
So this week, in Free Week, we have Asmodan, ETC, a Kael'thas, a Li, a Uther, and a Nova, and a Nubarak.
All right, way to bust out your heritage right there and just channel that Asian.
I was blending.
I'm really proud of you. All right, so it's an interesting free week.
Yeah.
No real strong tank here. I guess a Nubarak kind of.
A Nubarak and ETC.
ETC's weak. Get out of here.
Their changes are coming for ETC.
I think they're here.
No, they will. There were some minor ones because this last patch had a lot of fixes to warriors because they were like they realized that it's like there's 3 warriors getting played and that's it.
Yeah.
So they did change around a lot of things. Stitches obviously had the biggest changes, but some of the other guys have had some changes too.
Someone, Dustin Browder maybe, was saying that ETC is intended to be the displacement tank.
Which I believe he is. but
Or I believe he shall become that way.
yeah.
I think they need to change around some of his abilities if he's going to be. He only has one displacement skill right now, so the rest of his are
unless
lock
you
in
count
place.
the snare.
Well, yeah, but those are snares, not displacements. So what are your guys' teams here?
My team is Uther, ETC, Asmodan, Anubarak, and Kael'thas.
God,
You guys
dang it,
copy
dude.
each other so much. It's
Okay,
unbelievable.
all I'm
Every
gonna say
week.
is he looks at my list and then he makes
no,
his.
no.
So
You're the Nova player. I was expecting you to
I was
just throw
expecting
Nova,
Nova
in there
from
somehow.
you as well.
I know firsthand how bad Nova is in Infernal
Oh,
Shrines.
wow.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Uh,
Did you have a game where that didn't go well?
Just one.
So yeah, I have the same team just because, 2 warriors pretty strong, especially with the Nubrak and ETC. Some stuns there, especially and ETC's ult, Uther, I guess. I'm surprised you didn't go with Lily though, dude.
I thought about doing a double healer,
Oh.
but the thing is Uther is the greatest.
He is.
Uther has a click to stun, Uther has a click to heal, and he has a damage heal, essentially
shot.
AoE skill
Yeah.
shot. And he is the key to Illidan Kerrigan. The
melee
the AoE,
assassins.
or I'm
Yes.
sorry, the melee in your face low health champion
Yeah.
success.
Yeah.
He is just amazing, and I'm in love with him, and that's why he gets the best skins.
Okay.
No, you're absolutely right. Luther does have the best skins. For me, I wouldn't play any combination of these 7 on a team.
Oh wow.
I wouldn't.
You're just hating.
I mean, Asmodin is good in a niche setting. You have to have an incredibly good player on him, and he has to be able to build up those stacks. Otherwise, he's the definition of worthless. All he does is split push. He's not very good in team fights compared to a lot of other specialists. Nova's terrible. I've talked about why she is. Listen to other podcasts. She's not good in any pre-made team setting. And low MMR play, she can be outstanding because people are bad.
Can I just point out that's where we are?
Not me, not for long. Uther is really the only shining. Well, Uther and KT are the only shining lights here. KT is still one of the better mages in this game, and Uther is the support to play. But other than that, I mean, Anubarak's only good in a double tank comp anymore.
Yeah.
Lily's terrible. ETC, come on, he's the second worst tank right before Diablo.
Yeah.
I don't see how this team right here. You guys did pick the best 5 to play.
Yeah.
By far and away.
So that's his way of saying he agrees with our list,
I do.
but still complaining about the free week.
No, I do agree with your list, but this 5 right here will lose to any other 5 in the game.
That's not true.
Okay, they'd have to be really bad. I'm talking
They'd
about
have to
players
be equally as bad.
Well, I'm talking about on the equal skill level. Any other combination would beat this team.
I would disagree.
Well, that's fine.
Well, we'll agree to disagree then.
We should try it out sometime. We know 2 other players.
We do.
We can grab them.
We know
do
more
this
than
team.
2 other players.
We can do this team and then do a quick match and see who wins.
Viewers, join us this weekend and we will play together.
And then I get to rub it in their faces when I'm right.
Let's move on to map stats.
Map stats. It's time for map stats. Infernal Shrines. So we're talking about Infernal Shrines this week. It's the last map that we've never done this map before. We're gonna kind of have some fun with it. What do you guys think of this map? I don't like it. It's not bad, but it's so snowbally, which they tried to fix in this past patch. But it's just so snowbally. It's exactly
The
like
patch
Haunted
that
Mines.
is live today.
Yeah,
Yes.
the patch that is live today. It's just so snowbally like Haunted Mines, and we all know how I feel about Haunted Mines. I don't like it. It doesn't give you an opportunity to come back.
And in the research that I was doing about it today, that was very conflicted. A lot of people love it because of the ability to come back. Because one Punisher can change the tide of battle, and you can get a pentakill because your Punisher will take down the enemy team.
But good luck getting the Punisher is my point.
you know where I stand on it, but I think that the changes that were made will really help.
That's fair. Yes, absolutely.
And I think it's fine. You know, there are snowbally maps. Haunted Mines is one of them. This is one of them.
Yeah.
They're just, you know, Battlefield of Eternity is one of them.
I have to disagree because there's enough separation in where you're fighting in Battlefield of Eternity that you get to choose between attacking the other team or defending your own. And it gives you more opportunities. Like, if your team's losing a lot, then you just sit and defend, wait for the other team to make a bad choice, and then punish them for the bad choice. If your team's winning, you go and you attack the other Punisher, and you try to pick off the other team. It's like, there are ways to get around the snowball in Battlefield of Eternity. Whereas in this map, and Haunted Mines, and things like that, there's just no way because you're stuck in the same corner. So that's just,
Yeah.
tweet at us if you think I'm wrong. Let me know. At podcast_heroes. You can email us at niceguysnetwork@gmail.com. It's like, get involved in the discussion here. Let us know what you think, because, when it comes to controversial issues in this game, Aaron and I tend to be on opposite sides. And so it'd be really great to hear from you guys and let us know what you think. So what are the stats here? What are we talking about?
All right. So, first of all, I want to say I couldn't find any concrete information on the time length of how long a shrine, the time between when a shrine closes and the Punisher dies until when the next shrine spawns. It's pretty sporadic. Most people say it's too short. But I'm going to rattle off really fast the info that I have. The skeletal defenders will now scale 10% over time.
Finally.
Well, and this is important to note in combination. Johanna was one of the top picks on this map because Knight Takes Pawn would be so powerful that it could wipe out almost, like 15 skeletal defenders in one go. Not only have they increased the health of skeletal defenders, but they've nerfed Johanna's ability, Knight Takes Pawn. So, kind of a double whammy there, allows for people to really kind of change up who they're going for. So, that is important to know.
Well, then you'll really like this.
Yeah,
well, not as a Johanna player, but...
Sorry, I'm a good Johanna player. I'm not a bad one.
Skeletal defenders will no longer take any bonus damage at all from any minion effects. So, Knight Takes Pawn increases minion damage 200%, not to skeletal defenders.
I forgot about that.
So, if you're considering taking it, don't
Well,
on Infernal Shrines.
Still take it on Infernal Shrines. Don't expect it to be your one wave clear wipe out thing. It's the best ability at level 1 for Johanna.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is now, particularly with that big of a nerf to the main objective in the game. So, okay, what else? Ranged defenders will detect attack at a decreased range of 25%. So that means they would have attacked you from, 5 feet away? Now they're going to attack you from, 4 feet away.
Okay.
Punishers will not attack structures while enraged anymore. It was a glitch. Basically, they would jump to Bentley, slice him in half in one hit, then wreck the hell out of your fort. Not going to happen anymore. If you find yourself in a position where you are just getting wrecked by a Punisher, the secret is to kite it deeper into your base, away from its team. Because if you leave it out by your front gate, their team is going to be able to protect it, and it's not going to work out well for you. So, kite them into your base, and the structures will take care of it for you. They increased the amount of skeletal defenders you need to win the shrine from 30 to 40.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I think that's the real tilting point for snowballiness.
Yeah.
You can get 30 pretty quickly. Having to get an extra 10, increasing it by 33% is significant.
Well, especially considering I think it's only 5 or 7 spawn at a time. So you have to wait for 2 more rounds of spawns to come up in order to get this. That's going to be huge. And hearing so far all these changes, and I see more written down there, I'm starting to like shrines a lot more. So this is exciting to me. I'm glad Blizzard is getting involved in this and realizing, okay, we need to fix this.
So I did play one game of Infernal Shrines out of the 3 quick matches, and it is a lot more drawn out, dude. You're going to be spending a lot more time at the shrine itself because it does take a while for you to actually get 40. I remember looking at it and it said, 20 out of 40, and I'm like, wow, we're only halfway, and we've been here for like the enemy team died and came back multiple times for the early shrines. So yeah, it's a lot more drawn out now.
Yeah. A couple more points. The last change that happened, the Punisher will no longer leap to the weakest person. It will now leap to the nearest hero, which means your tank can absorb that blow for you, but only if they're smart enough to do so.
All you tank players out there, hug the Punisher.
Not necessarily hug the Punisher, but
maybe a little tickle.
Be the last person running away from the bear.
A little reach around, a little cuddle at the end of the night. It's
maybe buy him some dinner or something.
Get him a drink.
So I just want to call out, like one major strategy that is pretty relevant. First of all, non-heroic ability AoE spells are the most important on this map. Yes. If you want to do well, pick KTs, pick who else? Jaina's are great. All of the AoE champions.
People with splash damage like Hammer, duh. Who else has splash damage?
Malfurion is a good selection for your support.
Or
because
even
of his
Rhaegar. Rhaegar would be a good selection.
Arguably even Lily with her dragon build.
Oh yeah, true that. That's true.
Crazy high damage. Yeah. And it doesn't need to scale with minions because it's already so strong.
Right.
The dominant strategy with this game is to win the shrine, obviously. Win the shrine, push with the Punisher. Once your Punisher is just about gone, pull back, take both camps in that lane, and then make them distracted with that, go get the other camps, get the next shrine, push with that.
Win
the game.
All right, who are your guys' 5 for this map?
Ooh.
Bentley?
Well, I would say, as you said, AoE damage. That's all it is on this map. I would honestly go with like a Johanna Leoric dual warrior combo on top of Song of Ice and Fire, KT, Jaina, and then a nice round out with like a good Gazlowe.
Oh.
Yeah.
So no support.
No support.
No support.
That's what I was wondering, because your list is
like,
literally identical to mine, because I wanted the Leoric for the skeletal swing.
Yeah.
I wanted the Johanna. I wanted the KT. I wanted the Jaina. And I wanted my man Uther.
Okay. Uther. Right. Okay.
All right. I'm going to deviate quite a bit here. I want to make this fun and interesting. I like the new Stitches a lot, so I'm going to bring him into this one right here, especially with the Slam ability that can take down minions really, really fast. And, just get him involved and let him make those picks. If the other team has, like, somebody who's able to stay long distance and cast those AoE spells in there to get it, it's like, all right, KT's running around, let me just bring him into the fun.
Oh, yeah.
So I would actually pick Stitches here. Now, I have no idea if it would work, but I think it'd be fun. I'd bring Uther or Malfurion. I think actually Malfurion, now that I think about it, because he can take that Moonburn, whatever ability it is, to increase... actually, no, it doesn't work for champions anymore like that, does it? Okay, yeah, no, I'll still stick with Malfurion, though, because Moonfire can really help him, plus the zoning control he gives around because those shrines are real bottlenecky areas.
It is.
And so he can really provide a lot of abilities there. So those are my 2 there. I'd bring Muradin in, because I just love Muradin. And then a good Sergeant Hammer. If you know a good Sergeant Hammer, bring her to this map. Because this is by far and away the only map she's even somewhat relevant on.
I agree with you. I've seen good Sergeant Hammers on this
good
map.
Sergeant Hammer, because they have insane splash damage, and if they can set up really far away and just start pounding it down, so you don't even need to be standing on the shrine to win the shrine.
Yeah.
And remember, it's the last hit of the Skeletal Defender that counts you a point.
Right.
So all she has to do is target the weak ones. And from far away, and she gets it.
And she gets it. And then I bring a melee assassin in here, somebody who can be good at peel. Specifically, I'm thinking Kerrigan. It's like, and what you do here, though, is like, you don't act like, and this is just my own, theory crafting with the whole thing. You don't use the Kerrigan to dive in on the other team. You use her to protect your Sergeant Hammer. So hammer, if like the other team has a Zeratul, auto attack guys, or people trying to pick her off, you use that Kerrigan to zone them out and kill whoever is coming after your hammer, so your hammer can 100% ignore the other team and just focus on getting those skeletal defenders.
Yeah. And that Primal Grasp would be amazing to get skeletons.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, we've done it. We've done a map stats on every single map, which means, after about, 2 weeks, the information that we provided was,
Irrelevant.
a little, not irrelevant, but a little bit dated. Some of the strategies are still relevant. A lot of the cooldowns are still the same. A lot of everything is still the same. But we are going to start cycling through the maps that have been majorly updated. Like you've seen, we don't do this every week, but we're going to start doing it, every once in a while like we do, and pulling in maybe, for example, Garden of Terror has changed immensely since we last touched it.
Yeah.
So we need to take a look at that again.
And we'll also, introduce some new strategies, some new teams that we like to play, especially if we have like a really good Hero League game on it or something like that. It's like, oh, this worked out surprisingly well, and I never expected that. Like maybe a Nova on Garden of Terror, or something like that. So we're gonna start bringing back some of these old maps when we have time to talk about them, and really just kind of break them down. Maybe bring in esports examples of them, things like that. So if you have anything that you want us to talk about on specific maps, let us know. Tweet us, email us, Facebook us, whatever. We'll love to get that involved if we can.
Which means that now it's time.
And now for Watch Us Climb.
So what did we end up going with here? Because did we go with the one game we won?
Yes.
We went with the
Okay.
game that we won.
Who did I play in that game?
The one.
Was I on Tarande probably?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Toronto, yep.
Yes, sir.
Best champion in the game by far and away.
I was
If you want to
on.
win games, play Tarande.
I was on Rhaegar.
Right. So if I'm remembering correctly, it was Rhaegar, Muradin, Zagara,
Vala.
and Tarande.
Yep.
Yep.
Did
And
I
that
do
was-
that from memory?
You did.
Yeah,
and I
that was
have it
all
right
of
here.
our friends this past Saturday in the live stream with what's his podcast?
He doesn't have a podcast. He writes for The Score as an esports journalist. That's Josh Burry. Very well could be one of our viewers right now, in fact. And then his wife, Danielle, played with us. Josh played Muradin. Danielle played Zagara. I'm sure you were on, because
I was on
you
Vala.
were probably on Vala. Aaron was definitely the support because he's the best support player I know. And then I was playing Tarande and probably outdamaged everyone.
Yeah, you probably did, honestly. I think actually I remember Josh talking about it just afterwards and pointing out how close you were to Vala's damage.
Yeah.
Scaring Bentley a little bit.
But at this point, it's, and I said it again, and I said it that time, and I'll say it again. It's not surprising, dude. And Vala and Toronto are pretty similar in a way.
and now the changes are live. It'll be interesting to see how they all affect.
Oh yeah,
I know you, Bentley, love the new ult.
her new
I'm
ult
so excited.
is amazing, dude. And I mean, we might need to do like a new breakdown of her, but it's amazing.
Sure.
Yeah, we went through it last week, but
You should get a build ready for her.
we just did a build for Toronto though.
We'll put something out soon.
Yeah.
And I guess this would be a good time to segue into the fact that we will be launching our website very soon. I've been trying to, working, quote unquote, working on it. But hopefully we'll get it up, and we're going to start including builds, tier lists, and things like that. So keep an eye out for it. And that's one of the first things we can kind of introduce.
Our
on there.
goal getting started being that we are not funded, we're not on Patreon, we're basically hemorrhaging money and time so that we can do this.
We love you guys.
But we like doing it and we're having fun.
So let's talk about this game. The first thing I want to point out is the synergy between Tarande and Muradin. It was sick. It was nasty. I don't know if it was just me and Josh hitting it off and playing really well, or for those two characters just do it. But the fact that I could lay down a stun on somebody, we damage them. They start to run away on a predictable path because they're running straight for their gate. And Josh could have just hit them with his hammer on Muradin. They didn't escape. We got first blood, I think, in almost every single game we played that combo, regardless if we won or lost. We would get that first blood. Zagara is huge, just period. She's arguably the best specialist in this game. And then Vala is incredibly good with anyone that can help increase her damage. And that is, of course, Tyrande.
Yeah.
And Rhaegar, just the number 2 support in the game, period. The other team did pick the Uther, I believe, before we got to Rhaegar. Or before we got to him ourselves.
Rhaegar and Cursed Hollow is just good.
Was this a Cursed Hollow game? I couldn't remember.
And do you remember we got like almost every single tribute?
I believe it.
Yeah.
It was horrifying.
Well,
and it was great to have Rhaegar because I was able to get there first and throw down a slowing totem, and it would slow them down long enough that we could get them down to a point where they couldn't risk going to interrupt the person who was getting the tribute.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and we had just such great zoning ability with this entire team. Zagar with Devouring Maw, Tyrande and Muradin have stuns. But like you said, Rhaegar with the slowing totem. That left Bentley in the back being able to collect that totem while we zoned them all out. And then Bentley could come in with his Rain of Vengeance and just destroy people.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
And I think the thing that really got us this game, dude, were the bosses. We timed the bosses
every
perfectly.
boss.
Every time there was one
We did
up.
boss at level 8.
Yeah.
We got the tribute. We had one down. We saw 2 top. And I said, boss, now.
Yeah.
And you guys were like, no.
We're like, 8? Really?
I mean, we went for it.
And
but
Josh,
we were like-
Josh backed me up. He's like, no, yes, boss. Do boss. And it profited because we got that boss. While they were so distracted getting their boss, we took their other boss at like level 10.
Yeah.
And they were still level 8. And I think from that point on, we broke their courage.
And I mean, we kind of did destroy them, and it was wonderful in every single way. It was the only game we won. We won it by a landslide, which was, just good. And it kind of made us cocky, and
It
we
kinda
lost
did.
the rest of our
No,
team.
it wasn't even that. It was like Danielle was saying, we were doing so poorly that it took like 7 minutes to find a game because the game had to like match us. Because the second game we decided we couldn't handle people, so it matched us against bots, and we
much,
still,
yeah,
we
that must
still
have been it,
lost. So it had to not match us against bots, but it had to match us against like something worse than bots. So it took like 10 minutes to find that, and then we destroyed them.
All right, well, I believe that leads us to the conclusion of this podcast now. I mean, again, shout out to both Josh and Daniel Burry. They're at Throne Gauntlet and at Sylvanora. 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 They're great to follow, especially if you're into esports, because they're always talking about esports. So check them out on Twitter. Follow us, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. The only one I can remember is at podcast_heroes on Twitter. We do link everything else, though. Enjoy.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, let's take it out. Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Podcast Heroes, where we podcast about heroes. Pooped on my parade.